Which states do you think are most at risk of facing major challenges in the next few years? It's a tough question, isn't it? Well, today we're going to explore exactly that. We'll be looking at 10 states that could be headed for some serious trouble by 2025. Now, before you get worried, remember that this isn't about doom and gloom. It's about understanding the issues these states are facing, so we can start thinking about how to address them. Every challenge is an opportunity for change and growth. So let's take a journey across America and see what might be in store for these states in the near future. 1. California. California, the Golden State, has long been seen as a land of opportunity and innovation. But it's facing a perfect storm of issues that could spell trouble in the coming years. First up, let's talk about the environment. California has been battling increasingly severe wildfires, pushed by climate change and years of drought. In 2020, over 4 million acres burned. That's larger than the entire state of Connecticut. These fires aren't just destroying homes and forests, they're straining the state's resources and forcing many residents to reconsider where they live. But it's not just the environment that's causing headaches. The cost of living in California's major cities has skyrocketed. In San Francisco, the median home price is over $1.5 million. In Los Angeles, it's not much better at around $800,000. These astronomical housing prices are pushing people out, creating a workforce crisis. Many businesses are struggling to retain employees who simply can't afford to live near their workplaces. On top of all this, California is grappling with a massive debt. The state's long-term debts and liabilities were estimated at $1.5 trillion in 2019. This makes it harder for the state to address its mounting problems as more and more of the budget goes towards servicing this debt. But it's not all bad news. California still has a booming tech industry, world-class universities, and some of the most beautiful landscapes in the country. The key for California will be leveraging these strengths to address its challenges head-on. 2. Illinois. Moving to the Midwest, Illinois is facing a financial crisis that's been brewing for years. At the heart of the problem is the state's pension system, which is underfunded by a staggering $144 billion. This puts enormous pressure on the state budget, affecting everything from education to infrastructure. The financial strain is having a real impact on Illinois residents. The state has been losing population for several years as people move to states with lower taxes and more job opportunities. In 2020 alone, Illinois lost over 79,000 residents, the most of any state that year. This loss of residents means less tax revenue, creating a vicious cycle that's hard to break. Crime rates in some areas, especially parts of Chicago, remain a concern and contribute to the exodus. In 2020, Chicago saw a 55% increase in homicides compared to 2019, one of the largest spikes in the nation. Despite these challenges, Illinois still has a lot going for it. The state has a diverse economy, world-class institutions like the University of Chicago and Northwestern University, and Chicago remains a major business hub. The key for Illinois will be finding a way to address its financial woes and stem the population loss to secure a brighter future. 3. New Jersey. New Jersey might be known for its beaches and proximity to New York City, but it's facing some serious hurdles that could make the coming years challenging. One of the biggest issues is taxes. New Jersey has the highest property taxes in the nation, with the average homeowner paying over $9,000 per year. This is pushing many residents to consider moving elsewhere, particularly retirees on fixed incomes. Like Illinois, New Jersey is struggling with pension obligations that are straining the state budget. The state's public pension fund is underfunded by about $100 billion, which means tough choices ahead for state lawmakers. Infrastructure is another major concern. Many of the state's roads, bridges, and public transit systems are aging and in need of repair. The American Society of Civil Engineers gave New Jersey a C grade for its infrastructure in 2021, noting that 37% of roads are in poor condition and over 500 bridges are structurally deficient. Climate change is also a growing threat, with rising sea levels putting coastal communities at risk. A 2020 report found that sea levels along the New Jersey coast could rise by up to 1.1 feet by 2030, threatening billions of dollars worth of property. But it's not all doom and gloom for the Garden State. New Jersey has a strong economy, excellent schools, and a highly educated workforce. The state's location between New York City and Philadelphia remains a major asset. The key will be addressing these mounting challenges while leveraging the state's strengths. 4. Louisiana. Louisiana, with its rich culture and history, is facing some of the most severe climate-related challenges in the country. The state's coastline is disappearing at an alarming rate, about a football field of land every 100 minutes. This is due to a combination of rising sea levels, subsidence, sinking land, and the loss of protective wetlands. This coastal erosion doesn't just threaten communities. It also puts at risk the state's crucial oil and gas industry, which accounts for about 18% of the state's GDP. As the coast erodes, the infrastructure supporting this industry becomes more vulnerable to storms and flooding. Beyond environmental issues, Louisiana struggles with high poverty rates and poor health outcomes. The state consistently ranks near the bottom in education and health metrics. In 2019, Louisiana ranked 49th in the nation for overall health outcomes, according to America's Health Rankings. The state's economy is also a concern. While the oil and gas industry has been a major employer, its volatility leaves Louisiana vulnerable to economic swings. Diversifying the economy will be crucial for Louisiana's future stability. Despite these challenges, Louisiana's unique culture and natural resources provide opportunities. The state's music, food, and festivals draw tourists from around the world. There's also potential in sectors like renewable energy and coastal restoration technology. The key for Louisiana will be addressing its fundamental issues while building on these strengths. 5. Connecticut. Connecticut, often seen as a wealthy enclave, is facing a complex set of challenges that could spell trouble in the coming years. One of the biggest issues is income inequality. Connecticut has one of the highest income inequality rates in the country, with pockets of extreme wealth existing alongside areas of deep poverty. This disparity creates social tensions and makes it difficult to implement policies that benefit all residents. The state is also dealing with a demographic shift as younger residents leave for job opportunities elsewhere, leaving an aging population behind. This brain drain makes it difficult for the state to attract new industries and maintain economic growth. Between 2010 and 2020, Connecticut saw a net loss of about 120,000 residents in the 18 to 34 age group. Like other states on this list, Connecticut is grappling with underfunded pensions and a high cost of living. The state's pension system is underfunded by about $40 billion, which puts pressure on the state budget and could lead to service cuts or tax increases in the future. However, it's not all bad news for the Nutmeg State. Connecticut still boasts a highly educated workforce and proximity to major markets like New York and Boston. The state is home to several Fortune 500 companies and has a strong presence in industries like aerospace, insurance, and financial services. The key for Connecticut will be addressing its fiscal challenges and finding ways to attract and retain younger residents while leveraging its existing strengths. 6. New Mexico. New Mexico, the land of enchantment, is enchanting in many ways, but it's also facing significant challenges that could make the coming years difficult. One of the biggest issues is poverty. New Mexico consistently ranks among the poorest states in the nation, with a poverty rate of about 18% in 2019. This poverty contributes to struggles in the education system, with New Mexico often ranking near the bottom in national education assessments. The state is also grappling with a severe drought, which threatens agriculture and strains water resources. In 2021, about 75% of the state was experiencing severe to exceptional drought conditions. This not only affects farmers and ranchers, but also increases the risk of wildfires and puts pressure on urban water supplies. New Mexico also faces challenges with crime and substance abuse. The state has one of the highest crime rates in the country, and the opioid crisis has hit New Mexico particularly hard. Despite these challenges, New Mexico has some bright spots. The state has a growing tech sector, particularly around Albuquerque and Los Alamos, home to Los Alamos National Laboratory. New Mexico also has a thriving arts scene and a rich cultural heritage that draws tourists from around the world. The key for New Mexico will be leveraging these strengths while addressing its systemic issues. Improving education, Diversifying the economy and addressing water scarcity will be crucial for the state's future. 7. West Virginia. West Virginia, with its beautiful Appalachian landscape, is at a crossroads. The state faces several challenges that could make the coming years difficult. The decline of the coal industry has left many communities struggling to find new economic footing. Coal mining jobs in West Virginia have decreased by about 50% over the past decade, leaving many workers unemployed or underemployed. This has contributed to high poverty rates and a cycle of economic struggle that's hard to break. The state has also been hit hard by the opioid crisis, which has strained healthcare and social services. In 2018, West Virginia had the highest rate of opioid-involved overdose deaths in the country, more than 3 times the national average. West Virginia is facing a brain drain as younger residents leave for opportunities elsewhere, leaving an aging population behind. This demographic shift puts pressure on healthcare and social services while reducing the workforce available for new industries. However, it's not all doom and gloom for the Mountain State. West Virginia's natural beauty and outdoor recreation opportunities offer potential for tourism development. The state has also been making efforts to retrain workers for new industries, including technology and renewable energy. The key for West Virginia will be diversifying its economy, addressing the opioid crisis, and finding ways to retain and attract younger residents. It's a tall order, but with the right policies and investments, West Virginia can build a brighter future. 8. Mississippi. Mississippi, despite its rich cultural heritage, faces some of the most severe economic and social challenges in the country. These issues could make the coming years particularly difficult for the Magnolia State. One of the biggest challenges is poverty. Mississippi consistently ranks last or near last in metrics of poverty, with about 19.6% of its population living below the poverty line as of 2019. This poverty contributes to struggles in education and healthcare. Speaking of healthcare, Mississippi faces significant health challenges. The state has high rates of chronic diseases like diabetes and obesity, which strain the healthcare system. In 2020, Mississippi had the highest rate of adult obesity in the nation at 40.8%. Mississippi's economy has struggled to diversify, leaving it vulnerable to economic downturns. The state is still heavily reliant on agriculture and manufacturing, sectors that have seen job losses in recent years. Education is another area of concern. Mississippi often ranks near the bottom in national education assessments, though there have been some improvements in recent years. Despite these challenges, Mississippi has some strengths to build on. The state's warm climate and low cost of living could be attractive to businesses and retirees. Mississippi also has a rich cultural heritage, particularly in music and literature, which could be leveraged for tourism. The key for Mississippi will be improving its education system, diversifying its economy, and addressing its health challenges. It's a long road ahead, but with focused efforts, Mississippi can work towards a brighter future. 9. Alaska. Alaska, the last frontier, is facing a unique set of challenges that could make the coming years difficult. One of the biggest issues is the state's heavy dependence on oil revenues. Oil and gas account for about 25% of Alaska's GDP and about 80% of its state budget. As the world moves towards renewable energy, this reliance on fossil fuels puts Alaska in a precarious position. Climate change is having a dramatic impact on the state. Alaska is warming twice as fast as the global average, leading to melting permafrost that damages infrastructure and changing ecosystems that affect traditional ways of life. In some coastal areas, entire communities are having to relocate due to erosion and rising sea levels. Alaska also struggles with high costs of living, particularly in rural areas. In some remote villages, a gallon of milk can cost over $10 due to transportation costs. This makes it difficult for many Alaskans to make ends meet. The state's vast size and small population make providing services challenging. Many rural areas lack basic infrastructure and access to healthcare and education. However, Alaska's challenges also present opportunities. The state's natural beauty continues to draw tourists from around the world. There's also potential in sectors like renewable energy, particularly wind and hydroelectric power. The key for Alaska will be diversifying its economy away from oil dependency. addressing the impacts of climate change, and finding innovative ways to provide services to its far-flung population. It's a tall order, but Alaskans are known for their resilience and adaptability. 10. Rhode Island. Last but not least, let's talk about Rhode Island. The smallest state in the Union is facing some outsized problems that could make the coming years challenging. Like many states in the Northeast, Rhode Island is grappling with an aging population and the loss of young professionals to other regions. Between 2010 and 2020, the state's population grew by only 4.3%, slower than the national average, and much of that growth was in older age groups. The state's economy, once heavily reliant on manufacturing, has struggled to fully transition to new industries. While there have been gains in sectors like healthcare and education, job growth has been slower than in many other states. Rhode Island also faces challenges with its education system, particularly in urban areas. The state's K-12 public schools have been underperforming, with test scores below the national average in many subjects. As a coastal state, Rhode Island is vulnerable to rising sea levels and increasing storm intensity due to climate change. A 2017 report found that over 20,000 homes in the state are at risk of chronic flooding by 2045 due to sea level rise. But it's not all bad news for the ocean state. Rhode Island's compact size and location between Boston and New York could be advantages as it works to reinvent its economy. The state has been making efforts to attract new industries, particularly in technology and renewable energy. Rhode Island also has a rich history and beautiful coastal areas that continue to attract tourists. The state's size could be an advantage in implementing statewide policies and initiatives more quickly than larger states. The key for Rhode Island will be attracting and retaining young professionals, improving its education system, and leveraging its location and natural resources for economic growth. So there you have it, 10 states that could be facing some serious challenges by 2025. But remember, these aren't predictions of doom. Every challenge is an opportunity for change and growth. Many of these states are already taking steps to address their issues and build more resilient economies and communities. It's also worth noting that every state faces challenges, and the ones not on this list aren't necessarily in the clear. The key is recognizing problems early and taking proactive steps to address them. What do you think about these predictions? Do you live in one of these states? Have you noticed any of these issues firsthand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, understanding these issues is the first step towards finding solutions. By being aware of the challenges our communities face, we can all play a part in building a better future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.